Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Logan Paul, Dillon Danis, and Nina Agdal. I didn't think I was really going to make a follow-up video. I did make a video about maybe a week or so ago where I was talking about one of the specific instances that we'll be talking about a little bit here today, but as many of you are aware, Nina Agdal has been getting pretty much clowned on social media by Dillon Danis because Dillon Danis has an upcoming fight with Logan Paul in October, and I guess Nina Agdal, since she is the fiance of Logan Paul now, has just been pretty much like the hype-up campaign in a way for Dillon Danis. He's been finding a bunch of like insane pictures of her and videos and whatnot of her and has been exposing her, just piling on and piling on. I'm not gonna lie, like every single day he's got a new picture or a new video of Nina Agdal that he's hitting the timeline with, right? And at first it was kind of like bombshells, because like it was definitely I would say interesting way to promote the fight, to like go after this dude's fiance. But you know, he was posting all these different pictures, you know, of Nina Agdal with people like Leonardo DiCaprio, just all kinds of different guys, right? With the obvious like hint subtly being made that she is a hoe, right? Because I mean, there's a picture of her with like 600 different boyfriends, right? And in the video I made about a week ago, we were talking about one that came out where she was like basically begging anyone and everyone to come over and like sleep with her. She really needed some meat, to say the least, man. So it turns out that this whole like Dillon Danis troll campaign against Nina Agdal and Logan Paul has gone on so long, and it's gotten so bad that Nina Agdal is actually suing Dillon Danis over these posts, with some pretty serious implications on the line. I mean, according to Dillon Danis, there is the chance in this whole lawsuit that he goes to jail. He is accusing Nina Agdal of basically trying to have him arrested and put in jail, which obviously would not only jeopardize his upcoming fight with Logan Paul, but it would also put a pretty big, I would say, hold on his life. I mean, going to jail is not really something where you can just like, hey guys, I'm going to jail, I'll be back in 48 hours, okay? I gotta go serve my time for cyber harassment or whatever. I don't know what the charge technically is called. I don't know if it's just straight up harassment or if it's some sort of digital specific crime, but Nina Agdal is suing, and once again, there's some serious implications here. I mean, her own husband's fight might end up getting canceled because of this entire thing, and not even just because of the jail, right? Just because of the jail element of it all, but like, what if the promoters decide that enough is enough and they step in? I don't know. We'll go ahead and talk about it all, though. So, Nina Agdal has had enough of Dillon Danis' trolling all over social media. The model, who got engaged to YouTuber-turned-boxer Logan Paul in July, is suing Danis and filed for a restraining order against the MMA star over his social media posts about her, according to court documents filed Wednesday and obtained by TMZ. Agdal, 31, claims that in the lawsuit, Danis has posted, quote, despicable things about her more than 250 times since his fight with Paul was even announced earlier this summer, which she said has caused her to suffer, quote, humiliation, emotional distress, and reputational harm. The former Victoria's Secret model also alleged that one post, Danis, which was shared August 11th, violated federal and state law. That post, according to the court documents, featured a sexually explicit image of Agdal that was taken from, quote, a romantic encounter she had with someone more than 10 years ago. Quote, Danis posted the photograph entirely uncensored from his Twitter account without the plaintiff's consent, Agdal stated in the lawsuit, according to the Daily Mail. Quote, later that day, Danis reposted the explicit photograph in order to maximize the number of views that it would receive. So, I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of like halfway following this situation ever since it really started. Like, I've only, I think, seen like 3 or 4 different posts that Dillon has actually made. I've not seen literally every single thing that he's posted, and according to this also, I would assume this is all completely deleted, at least the like explicit image. But like I said in my last video, right, he'd been on what most people would describe as like a complete press run with different pictures and videos and whatnot of Nina in all these different situations with all these different guys and whatnot, right? Obviously trying to get under Logan Paul's skin. Because, I mean, this is his fiance, it's the woman he loves and whatnot. Now, honestly, the one of her, like, craving for dick, that one was pretty scathing. That one was pretty insane. But not only did I not know he had posted, according to the court documents, about her more than 250 times, but on top of all that, I didn't know that he had posted like explicit pictures of her without her consent, right? I thought he was just like posting pics of her with celebrities and whatnot, like kind of hinting that, oh, look, she fucked Leonardo DiCaprio, ha 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 ha. Like, I didn't know the full extent of just what Dillon Danis was doing in this whole situation, right? So when I first saw this story, I was a little confused, you know? I was like, oh, Nina Agdal's like suing this fucking guy because, you know, he basically posted memes about her. That's wild. But apparently the story goes a little deeper. It's really because, you know, not only has he posted about her 250 times, it's because he's been posting like explicit pictures without her consent, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter. That, to me, that's kind of weird, bro. Like, you don't really need to be going that far. That's a little fucking wild. It doesn't matter who took the picture, when it was taken, whatnot, right? Like, posting other people's nude images all over the internet, especially when, like, they're not so publicly noticeable that, like, you could just fucking see them in passing. Like, I don't know. To me, man, that's just unnecessary and weird. Like, I get he's trying to promote the fight or whatever. He's trying to get under Logan Paul's skin, but at a certain point, it becomes, like, a little bit more unhinged than it is, like, based or funny or cool. Like, I don't know, posting about anybody more than 250 times within a matter of a couple weeks is kind of fucking insane. Like, you gotta think, it's not like this fight has been on the cards for like a year now, and he's just been kind of posting offhanded like that. Nah, man. This fight got announced like 2 months ago or something, right? So, like, he's just been kind of rapid fire. I didn't know that. That's kind of crazy. So, with all of this, I decided, you know, like, what exactly is the ramifications here? Because I don't really know how this is gonna work out in the court of law. A lot of the digital stuff, right? A lot of online internet stuff is a little bit more difficult to sort out in the courtroom because it's not physical and things like that. So I looked up like the legal definition of online harassment to see if, like, you know, what exactly is going on here technically fits that, because I mean, in the court of law, right, there's really, you know, the basis that they go on, like whatever the legal precedent is or whatever the legal definitions are, things like that, right? You know, the judge isn't just gonna come up with any just random decision, right? There's a lot of like precedent in order to get things like this through. So the definition of online harassment / cyber stalking is a common example of cyber harassment that involves targeted and repeated intimidation, threats, and harassment directed toward one person. It can include false accusations, defamation, and digital vandalism. In many cases, it is a crime that's punishable under federal and state laws. So, targeted and repeated intimidation, threats, and harassment directed toward one person. So, it can also include false accusations and defamation. That's important to note here because Dillon Danis has done that. You know, like, I mean, it's really hard to say anything other than that. Like, just based on this legal definition, Dillon Danis has definitely conducted himself in a way that very easily could be interpreted with alongside this definition. I mean, he's posted about Nina Agdal, photos of her, explicit and non-explicit, has been implying that she's had all these sexual partners, has been posting all these videos of her, 250 different posts, like, in one day. Not one day, but, like, you get what I'm saying, in, like, a small time period, right? I mean, that's pretty fucking on the dot for, like, I would say targeted and repeated harassment directed toward one person. I mean, for instance, like, if your ex-girlfriend, you know, broke up with you and then you, like, posted about her and pictures of her and whatnot on, like, Facebook 250 different times, like, yeah, bro, that would at that point be considered harassment, you know what I mean? Not even at that point, like, way before that point, you could start making the case for harassment. So, as, like, funny as most people have seen Dillon Danis' posts, like, as quote-unquote based as he's been for posting all this shit and exposing Nina and whatnot, right? It definitely does fit the legal definition of what this whole thing is. And another thing I didn't know offhand is apparently some of the photos of Nina Agdal have also been digitally altered and photoshopped and whatnot to make them even more damning. So some of the photos that he's posting are just straight up not true, and he's like actually trying to, like, you know, use these as a weapon of intimidation against Logan too. Like, he's trying to get in this guy's fucking head and, like, mess with him and basically get, like, this online crusade of people to, like, fuck with him and whatnot, right? Like, to most people, this case might be something where it's like, oh, this is some online shit or whatever, but, like, I mean, the case definitely has at least a little bit of basis. I didn't really know how that was all gonna go down at the beginning of all this, right? The thing about court, though, is it's really a lot of the time up to like the judge or the jury's interpretation of the law. So when this goes in front of a judge, you know, it's going to be, does the judge see this as harassment? Does, you know, the judge think that the evidence that's been kind of laid forward really indicates that this is like a serious thing? And you got to think too, like the judge is most likely going to be like some 70-year-old boomer who doesn't know really who these people are, doesn't really use the internet, and doesn't really know like internet culture, I guess. So in my personal opinion, I think the judge might be a little bit more likely to side with Nina Agdal, not just because of like what exactly happened, but just based on the fact that the judge doesn't probably really have that background knowledge of how the internet is. And the internet is kind of a cesspool. It is a place where like information like this, once it gets out, people are gonna fuck with you about it, but that doesn't really justify doing it. Like, once again, I get he's trying to promote his fight and whatnot, but I don't know, 250 posts is definitely taking it a little bit over the top. That is kind of fucking nuts. It's not just like a one post a day where it's something silly, you know, just like something that was publicly available. It from what we understand here, some of these photos were also like leaked images that were not publicly available, meaning that he's like going around and finding private photos of her to post on the internet to fuck with her and Logan about this fight. Like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, when I made my video a week ago, like for the up until basically I heard about this lawsuit, I had just assumed like Dillon was posting publicly available images and videos and whatnot that he wasn't really responsible for like leaking, but that doesn't really seem to be the case anymore. So I don't know. It definitely, I think there is a little bit of a legal case. Now, let's talk about some of these ramifications. So one of them that Dillon is talking about is the fact that he might go to jail. Now, I don't know if he's gonna go to jail essentially for posting like wild pictures of somebody online. I don't know how that works because obviously different states and different areas have different outcomes and different punishments for different laws, right? Like it's just so hard to actually figure out because I don't know if all of them live in like the same state or like what exactly the case is there, because like this is an online thing, right? You could have somebody in fucking Poland dealing with somebody in Lithuania who's dealing with someone in Idaho, right? So the law is kind of weird in that element, right? Because, you know, not everybody's from, it's not like a bunch of people in the same neighborhood. I mean, you can kind of hold them all to the same degree. It really isn't the case unless it's federal. In this instance, it is. So if it is a federal case, right, now it's based on like the federal law definition of what's going on. It's not like a legal local thing anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes. I don't even know if this court case is going to be able to happen in time for the fight, right? Because like from my knowledge, this fight is in a month. And I mean, I'm just like basing this off of personal experience or whatever. I've never seen a court case, like a lawsuit, go pretty much like all the way through the process in a month to the point where like this fight would be in jeopardy, you know? I don't know. It really just depends on how everything plays out, but he's like worried that the fight might not happen because he might be in jail. Now, I don't know. Once again, it could happen. It may not happen. I have no idea. But, I mean, he hasn't stopped, though. This hasn't stopped Dillon Danis. I mean, even today, he posted another, like, picture or whatever of Nina Agdal. He doesn't really seem to be too worried about the whole, like, harassment argument that's being made against him. He kind of just seems to continue to see it as, like, him promoting this fight and whatnot. So, it doesn't really appear like he really gives a fuck about what any court is going to say or, like, what this whole lawsuit's saying. He's not really seeming to ready or willing to stop. So it looks like this is probably just going to continue to happen up until the fight, whether Nina and Logan like that or not, whether the court is going to rule in favor of him or not. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But with that being said, man, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Shoptimus down below. Thank you to my Watch Optimus subscribers. Your support helps the channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the whole Nina Agdal, Dillon Danis situation, and signing out.